The crossover is off and running, and anytime I get a chance to chop it up with this guy right here, my day and my week is better for it. And no, it's not Mike Bianchi in this week. My former co-host, Stefan, the People's Champ.
What's happening, baby? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling good. I'm excited to get into the 4th of July weekend. It's going to be an extended one for us on In the Zone. The thing I have to ask you first and foremost is, are you going to yell at me about candy again?
Oh my God, Brandon Kravitz. I am. And the most fun part about that whole thing was that we literally end up doing half the show about candy. So much so that I renamed Open Mic to the Candy Bar Podcast because we just talked about candy. And every time I wanted to talk about something else serious, somebody would say something outrageous and I'd be like, what? Are you kidding me? That's disgusting. Why would you even eat that? So it was great. It was great. Midnight Milky Way is what I heard, right? I heard Midnight
Milky Way Midnight. It's not the Milky Way is a mid candy bar.
I want you to know.
This is like going from standard definition to HD when you bring in the dark chocolate.
No, it's like going from mud on your shoe to sand in the car. That's what it's like. I want you to know morning listeners were dragging you for even considering Milky Way as a top anything. But I haven't tried it. I'm gonna go check it out, even though Milky Way is disgusting. So I don't have any.
Do you like
high
dark
expectations.
Chocolate?
I do like dark chocolate. Yeah.
I think you're going to love this. Please give me a full review at any time. And then if it's positive, I'm going to post it on the Zoneheads group page. If it's negative, I'm going to delete the text message. I was wondering if there is a candy bar podcast out there because there could be a market for this. You know, there's a podcast for just about everything these days, but candy bars are pretty popular. It looks like there is a candy bar podcast, but it hasn't been updated since 2022. Their last episode was Nutrageous versus Chocolatey Payday.
Okay. I love that was their last episode because I, as a fan of the Payday, when they released the chocolate Payday, I was super excited. And then I tasted it and it was terrible. It was terrible. And I was so upset and disappointed. It was awful. So we might have to jump in on the Candy Bar podcast. So, you know, we've been talking about everything that's happening with the Magic and all of these other teams. And one of the things I said on the air the other day is that watching what's going on with these other teams, especially after Dame Lillard got released, right? And now you got DeAndre Ayton moving over into the Lakers and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, this makes me feel so comfortable as a Magic fan, right? Like, because I know that my team is not going to participate in any of that level of drama. I know we're solid. We have a foundation. We know where we're going. All of our fans know what to expect, right? Some of those expectations a little high. Some of those expectations a little low. But we all know what to expect out of this next season. And even out of the rest of the offseason. Nobody's like, oh my God, are they going to deal Paolo, right? And so it made me feel very comfortable as a Magic fan, but it also made me wonder, is there anybody that's untouchable? When you've got Luka being traded and Dame being released, is there anybody that's untouchable in the NBA?
Victor Wembanyama is probably pretty untouchable. I think the Spurs would hang up on you rather quickly for that. It seems like Denver, they've reloaded around Nikola Jokic.
They have.
For good reason. It's a multi-time MVP. I'm thinking they wouldn't even entertain a phone call on that. Anybody else? I mean, I think Paolo is untouchable-ish.
Exactly.
In today's NBA world, everybody, for the most part, you're taking the calls. At Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, there's no way that Oklahoma City would entertain that conversation. But the list is really short.
It is.
And I am proud of the way the Magic have built this team. It's taken time. I would use the analogy of it's like the difference. You look at teams like the Lakers, the way that they're operating, the Knicks, versus the Magic, who are a couple of stages behind where OKC is, but it's the same sort of path.
Yeah.
Build from within. You add pieces here and there. It's defense. It's culture. It's, you know, organic, if you want to use that word. It's the difference between renting and owning a home.
Right.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like you're just constantly, that lease is constantly coming up and you're in scramble mode and you're probably overpaying and rent prices are high versus it's patient and it's boring, but when it's time to cash in the chips, all of a sudden you're sitting on some real equity, and it feels like that's the world that the Magic are living in.
Yeah.
And impatient fans have hated the process, but I think right now you're seeing the payoff.
Exactly.
Because if for whatever reason next year is a disaster, the Magic could pivot. They can pivot.
They sure can.
These other teams, like if 40-year-old LeBron doesn't work for the Lakers, they're kind of screwed for a couple of years.
Exactly. And that's the thing I love about what I'm looking at with the Magic organization. And it's funny because when we first brought these guys into the front office, that's what we were wanting, right? That's what we were expecting, that they were going to take their time and they were going to build a franchise, not just a team. Right. And then a lot of people got, like you said, they got antsy, they got frustrated. They tried to get where's the team? Where's the team? And now you can see here's where the team is. And there's a franchise behind the team. There's a culture behind the team. The only thing left to do is to win. That's all that's left, is to do the winning. That's sometimes the hardest part, but that's all.
Well, yes, very much so. So I don't want to pencil them in just yet. It makes me uncomfortable how confident everybody is that this team's just going to march to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to
be quite that easy.
And for me, it was a thing where it's like, okay, so as the guy who routinely oversells what the Magic are going to do, now I'm listening. I got to peel it back. I'm listening to everybody else, and I'm like, slow it down. Wait a minute. It's not Eastern Conference Finals or bust for this team. You got to chill on that a little bit. We expect the second round. We expect second round in the playoffs. I expect to be fighting for Eastern Conference Finals, right? I want a 5-game, 7-game series. If it's 5 games for us or 7 games against them, right? But you got to chill on that. We're automatically in the ECF just because everybody's hurt. Like, it's a long season still in the NBA.
Last one from me. You guys spoke a lot about soccer this week on open mic, so golf clap to you for giving the people what they want. I think maybe. Never know what to make of this sport. Do you feel like the love for the sport of soccer amongst Americans in this city of Orlando has risen, decreased, or leveled out over the last 10 years? Has been kind of the soccer era, if you will, in Orlando. And I still cannot get a read on how the general public feels about this sport at a professional level.
I would have to say leveled out. Like, there was a moment where there was a spike, right? Like, and even this is before MLS. Before MLS, I sometimes feel like before MLS, it was way more popular than it is now. But I see the popularity has increased, but I also see that it decreased a little bit and it's leveled out to where the regular everyday person in Orlando who's not paying attention to sports, not paying any attention to Orlando City Soccer, not paying any attention to the Pride. Maybe their company had hey, whoever makes the most sales today gets 2 tickets or 4 tickets for their family or something like that. And they go to a match here and there and they feel the atmosphere. They think it's cool. They think it's awesome. But it's one of those, hey, I did this thing in my city one time and it was really fun. And they're not becoming season ticket holders, right? And then you have the people that love the sport that are routinely filling the stadium, and there's stragglers here and there. But I really believe that it's a level out space. If I had to put on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being this is the sport we care about in the city, and 1 being like we don't pay it any attention at all, I'd put Orlando City Soccer probably around a 4. I wouldn't even give it a 6 yet because it just has moments. It has spurts and moments where it's like, oh, look what happened. And somebody on the show the other day said it greatly. They said, the Pride are national champions and we don't pay them any attention whatsoever.
And it is crazy. It's a disservice to them that we don't pay more attention to that. It feels to me like this Apple TV deal is one of the worst things that MLS could have ever done. It was a cash grab for them. In my opinion, and I have no numbers to back this up, this is just the feeling that I get. Orlando City fans, you can count all of them. They all go to the games. Yes. If you don't go to the games, you probably don't watch them at home.
Oh, I'm positive. You do not watch them at home. Like, I think it would have been better if they had a spot on the CW than being on Apple TV. Because at least somebody could stumble across them at some point in time, And Apple TV is already not the most popular streaming platform out there. So now you got what could be considered a fringe streaming platform with a fringe sport that have all mixed together to try to see if we're going to become the next big thing. And it's like, that's not how it happens.
Yeah, this isn't Raw moving to Netflix.
No, not at all.
You were already still in a phase where you wanted people to find your sport, and then you hit it. Like it's like we're playing hide and seek with soccer in this country. All right, hit me with one more before we get
So we did a thing the other day where we said, hey, what is your expectation for your team, right? Your NFL team. Get back up. No, come on back. We all tend to, at the beginning of the season, think a little highly of our teams unless our team is expected to do very well. Then we try to bring the expectation down a little bit so that we're not so disappointed, right? And so the question was then, so thinking about your team for next season, what is your expectations for your team? So Kravitz, as a Dolphins fan, I've tried to get you to convert numerous times. You apparently appreciate the pain. So as a Dolphins fan, what is your expectation for the Dolphins next season?
I'm a loyal guy, Stefan. I don't know what to tell you. I don't enjoy
one of the best qualities of you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think if Josh Allen tears his ACL, I think the Dolphins can win the AFC East. If that doesn't happen, I think most likely they hover around. You can't go exactly 500 on a 17-game schedule anymore. So I think they win 8 or 9 games, and they probably just miss out on the playoffs. I think this team's going to be decent. Their schedule is pretty light.
It is. It is.
Relatively speaking, as light as an NFL schedule can be, because everybody's kind of tough in their own way. And you also don't know what the back end of the schedule looks like and what these teams are going to be. But when you start the year with the Indianapolis and the Patriots and the Jets and the Panthers, you get the Falcons and the Browns in there.
Yeah,
and
feels good
on
man.
The schedule. There are a lot of winnable games on this schedule, but there's just not a lot to be confident about right now. I don't feel like the team made any improvements in the offseason. They just looked at an average roster, moved off of an old piece in Jalen Ramsey, exchanged him for another relic in Minkah Fitzpatrick. And they're just like, we're just going to see if we can win with the group that we didn't win with last year. It doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, but based on the schedule, if Tua's, you can't break down the Dolphins without saying the words, if Tua's healthy.
You cannot. I'm glad you put it in there.
I think when he's on the field, he has gotten a lot better as a quarterback in the NFL. He's so valuable to this team. I think Tua can win games, especially in September. He can win football games. But to say that my expectations are high would be a lie. So a typical 8-9 season for the Miami Dolphins. Let's strap in and get ready. We got an exciting one ahead of us this year.
Listen, I'll give you 9-8, 10-7, right? I think there's going to be some surprise wins there. But I also, like you said, is Tua going to stay healthy? What's going to happen with your defense? Is your O-line going to be able to stay consistent throughout the course of the season? And then on top of that, I look at Mike McDaniel and I say, we went from looking at you as the new genius of the NFL to kind of back to not buffoon status, but it's kind of like, oh, now what? So it'll be very interesting to watch, especially as a Dolphins fan for you. I don't have to worry about all that as a Raisin fan, but we'll see how things go for you guys.
My expectation for you guys is pretty high.
That's the problem.
Conference championship appearance and then a flame out against a better proven quarterback in the playoffs. We'll see how that all shakes out.
Well, I look at it and say that Lamar has stair-stepped his way through in the playoffs. So out in the first round, out in the second round, out in the conference championship. His next step is to go to the Super Bowl, period. Like, that's it.
Hey, they all said that Matt Stafford couldn't do it until he did it.
Right.
I'm a believer. Eventually he'll break through. The crossover